Hello and welcome to Oh Hello Maker. Whether this is your first box or you've been crafting along with me for a while now, I think you're going to really love today's tutorial, Cyanotype printing. Now this is actually a very old method of developing photographs, dating back to 1842. But the great thing about this process is you don't need any specialist equipment and there's absolutely no need for a darkroom because our photographs, or our prints, are going to be developed using the sunshine. It's absolute magic watching the transformation, and you'll come away with the most beautiful cyan blue prints. Now your kit contains two different chemicals. When they're mixed, they become light sensitive, so you only really need to mix up what you'll be using on that day, and you can store the rest away for another time. Also, very important to mention that if you've got kids about or pets, please keep them away from the chemicals because they are toxic if ingested. But that's not to say that the kids can't be involved. They'll just be involved in gathering up the leaves and feathers and all the lovely things that you're going to print with. I think you're going to really love creating your own cyanotype prints. And don't forget to tag at Oh Hello Maker if you post anything on social. Thanks so much. Let's crack on with the project.
Just a few things to mention before we get started. When you're mixing up the two chemicals, it's best to work in low light, preferably not daylight, but all of the cyanotypes I've done have been in daylight, they've just been indoors. So you want to take your glass out of your picture frame and give it a good old clean. You want to gather up a selection of leaves and feathers and flowers, all of the lovely things that you're going to print with, and you want to cover your work surface with some newspaper or something similar. There's a dust mask in your kit and you can wear rubber gloves too. I don't tend to, but if you have sensitive skin or you just want to be safe, you can wear rubber gloves. Okay, so with everything set up and ready, you want to pour all of part A powder into a jar. Then measure out 105 millilitres of water and pour that into the jar. Give it a good old stir until the powder is dissolved. Then you want to pour part B powder into a different jar and add 105 millilitres of water to that. Again, you want to stir it until the powder dissolves, and it's worth mentioning that this powder feels a lot thicker than powder A when you're mixing it up, and that's completely normal. So before you mix up the two chemicals to make that light sensitive solution, you can choose to either keep the paper the size it is now, or you can cut it down into smaller pieces. Take the backing board out of your picture frame, and then you can use little pieces of blue tack to attach the paper and tags and anything you want to the back of the board. Then in subdued lighting, you want to measure out equal parts of both the solutions. Now I'm using a syringe, but you could use just a teaspoon if you wanted, just so you have the same amount of both mixtures going into a separate pot. And a top tip is you can use one of the jars included in your kit to mix up the two chemicals. Don't be tempted to mix it all up together. You only need to mix up what you need to use. And this needs to be used within 2 to 4 hours. Now, using the brush from your kit, you can paint the sensitizer onto the paper and then allow it to dry somewhere dark, cupboard under the stairs or something like that. If it's a warm day, it's going to dry really quickly. Now, if you haven't already, you can go and gather up some items that you want to print with. As you can see here, the solution has dried quite a sort of murky blue colour already. I was working on quite a bright day. So position leaves and flowers and feathers and anything you want to print with on top of the coated paper. You can play around with arrangements. Pressed flowers work really, really well here. You want to carefully place the glass back on top, then use some clips like bulldog clips to hold it in place. Now don't worry if it's not a beautiful sunny day, your cyanotype will develop even in very low light, it just takes a lot longer. So I'm going to walk outside with this and I'm going to place it directly on the grass. It was quite an overcast day, and when I've done it in full sunshine before, it's taken as little as 3 minutes to develop. And you can see it developing in front of your eyes. It's quite amazing. It's best to overexpose your cyanotype rather than underexpose. So if in doubt, leave it for the full 30 minutes. The prints should look a sort of deep blue, almost bronze in colour. Then when they are ready and developed, you can take off the clips from the outside and take off all of your little prints. Fill a shallow tray or a deep tray with water. You could also do this in the sink. You can use a running tap if you want. And then place in a print. You can wear rubber gloves and you can use tweezers as well to move the print about. Keep moving the print through the water, wash for about 5 minutes and change the water every so often until it runs completely clear. You can put multiple prints in at once if you want, just to speed up the process. Keep moving them about through the water until you've got rid of all of the sensitizer. Then, when they're ready, take them out of the water and leave them to air dry. Now you can put them back onto the board if you want, or you could peg them up on the washing line. It's up to you. They take about 24 hours for the print to fully develop, and it will oxidise to give its final deep blue colour. And then it's entirely up to you what you do with your prints. You can choose to frame them, make them into greetings cards, add them to the top of gifts, anything you like. It really is a great project to experiment with. You'll definitely find out which things work well and which things don't really work well. But just have fun with it and let me know how you get on. I really hope you enjoyed the tutorial. See you again soon.